Welcome back. Right now, LaVonne Wells Sandberg is joining us. She is a spiritual teacher. She also recently spoke at a rally down in Salt Lake City for the Black Lives Matter movement. LaVonne, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to connect with you through the screen. We've, of course, had you on set before, but it's still nice to see your smiling face. Tell me a little bit
Oh,
about your background and what you do.
well, I'm a spiritual teacher. My background is grief and loss support after experiencing the passing of my daughter and having the challenge of taking her off life support. A lot of amazing and crazy and bittersweet experiences took place and got me to the place where I was absolutely super clear on what my life's work is, my purpose as far as assisting other people who have gone through the process of losing a child. And I just began to really work with speaking a lot. So I do a lot of speaking. I've done a TED Talk and I've done many other talks in the state of Utah and outside of Utah, which has been exciting, just sharing my experiences of the process of grief, and no one can tell you how to grieve and go about grieving. Some systems to assist people through that process of feeling those emotions and honoring them and honoring the memory of their loved ones as well. So I do a lot of workshops, classes, private sessions, group sessions, and I just have a little bit of a different take on it. And a lot of the feedback and a lot of the comments from my clients is when they come to me, they feel really down, depressed, sad, and by the time they leave, they just feel calm and a peace about them. So I figure it's working. Keep doing it. Keep sharing my story about my daughter Kiva and my journey, and bring as much love and as much calm and peace in any setting that I find myself in. So
Right now, the world is really grieving. How are you interpreting this? How are you helping your clients? Are you noticing this within your work, that more people are really struggling with their emotions?
yes, a lot. The main thing for me right now is I'm noticing that it's a global grief. It's a global anger. It's a global everything that's going on right now. And I've been able to sit in those emotions myself and to be able to feel it at the core of my being and honor those emotions and not take it lightly and be warm and fuzzy about it. It's like, no, this hurts, and I'm going to sit in this hurt and in this emotion. And then when I'm done with that, I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to start breathing in what it is that I would like to see have happen. And if I'm called upon to be a part of something, then I will be a part of that something and bringing more hope, more faith, and more knowing that changes is among us and it's going to happen. And so it's been really tough, even for me, to process all of this, but it has been a powerful journey on the very things that I teach in my workshops, my classes, and with my clients. So it's been a tough one, but it's also been a very beautiful one to see how people have really come together peacefully in creating change. So
And how
it's
are
been,
you advising those individuals during this time, the people that you work with? What are some things that you're telling them to help them feel this peaceful energy?
I'm telling them to first acknowledge that they do feel upset, that they are angry, that they are sad, that they are depressed. I'm telling them to acknowledge those emotions and sit in those emotions. And then the biggest thing, and I say this all the time, and it's such a powerful tool. I tell them to breathe. You know, with all of this and with George Floyd and the knee on the neck and everything else, and I remember everything, the protest beginning with, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. And I was like, you know what, when I was watching that, I couldn't breathe either. And when he was calling out to his mother, you know, of course, as a mother that has lost a child, that has had a child transition, that just tore at my heartstrings. I mean, I got it at the core of my being. But the one thing I did remember is that after everything is said and done, I must breathe, because that is the very thing that oxygenates every cell in my being, in my body. It fuels my ideas, it fuels my creativity, it fuels solutions, and it fuels change. And so the biggest thing I've been telling people is to feel those emotions, acknowledge those emotions, be about the grieving process. Don't let anyone tell you how you should or shouldn't grieve. But most importantly, I want you to come up for air and start breathing. You breathe for George Floyd, you know, you breathe for Breonna Taylor, you breathe for everyone and anyone that has been, right now it's Black Lives Matter. It's anyone that has been unjustly taken out of this world in such a horrific way. And the reason, and I want to talk about that too, when we talk about Black Lives Matter, we never said, and I'm not an official spokesperson for Black Lives Matter, but I am a Black person living in Utah. And, you know, this is important to me. I have 2 grown Black sons. I have a daughter. So this is a big deal. And so it's really imperative that we acknowledge the Black lives right now, because it is the predominant energy that is being put out there in the world. It's global. I mean, there are people protesting globally. It's not just in one city, one town, one state. And, you know, this is the predominant energy, and that's an indicator coming from the spiritual teacher aspect that this is the very thing that needs to be taken care of in this immediate moment. And it's bringing everybody together. It's bringing everybody together. And what we're saying with Black Lives is that we cannot do this alone. It requires everyone in the community to take an active look at themselves, take an active look of their community and, you know, within their own families, and start creating that change that everybody is asking for. And what are they asking for? They're asking for justice. They're asking for equality. They're asking for peace. They're asking for so much, and that's the beauty of it. And we as a species can provide that. We can be a unified front for the justice and the equality that everyone deserves. And right now, predominantly, it is the Black lives that we're talking about. And it's exciting. It's exciting because we're already seeing changes going out there. You know, we're seeing reform in so many different areas. We're seeing laws being changed. It's bittersweet, you know. Again, it reminds me of when my daughter passed away, that bittersweet experience, you know. So it's a bittersweet experience, but it's definitely worth it. Oh my goodness.
Earlier this week, you spoke at a rally in Salt Lake City. Tell me about that experience.
It was powerful. Every speaker was just eloquent with all of their words. It was a Black Lives Matter peaceful protest, and it was peaceful. The organizers and everyone, the volunteers were just so full of love. They were just so full of passion and so much energy. And, you know, being in that crowd, there were just hundreds upon hundreds and hundreds of people out there. And it was just, I can honestly say in that moment, I could see that change was happening, that it was going on. And I really believe that things are created spiritually first. And I really believe that energetically, spiritually, things were in motion for change. And as I spoke with the crowd and I talked to them about the breath and how we breathe change and we breathe equality and we breathe justice, that is how we fuel and that's how we move forward. And if we continue to hold our breath, as you know, when we hold our breath, it's constrictive and it holds back and it holds onto the emotions and those situations that we want to see shift. And so it was just beautiful. It was an amazing protest. And, you know, I hear people say all the time, the media just focuses on this and focuses on that. Thank you, Park City TV, because you're focusing on what really happened at that protest. But I get it now when people talk about more of this is what gets to be main media, you know, sharing the good news. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm done hearing about just the negative all the time. You know, give us some good news, you know. And that rally and that protest was very peaceful and definitely media worthy. And The thing is, we out of sight, out of mind, so we're going to keep this going, just keep this going throughout the communities. And like I said, I'm not an official spokesperson for Black Lives Matter. I love Black Lives Matter. And I just say that as a disclaimer so that if anyone comes and says, hey, she doesn't speak for us, well, I'm speaking for Black lives. And so therefore, I represent that. Having personal life experiences and knowing that racism is alive and well in our system, I also know that love is alive and well in our system. And I'm committed to the breath. I'm committed to breathing in new creation and a lot of hope, a lot of faith, and a lot of knowing that this is the season and this is the time that change occurs. So,
LaVonne, it has been an absolute honor to talk with you today. Where can we find out more about you?
Again, on Facebook, The Spiritual Teacher, Instagram, The Spiritual Teacher, my website, LaVonneWells.com. And, you know, I'm thinking about adding something extra to my title. How about spiritual, what is the word I was thinking about? Activist. The spiritual activist, when I walk into any situation and just bring that love and bring that light, bring that peace and bring that calm while honoring the emotions and feelings of others, you know,
Well,
and supporting.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We very much appreciate you taking the time to be with us. We are honored talking with you.
And I am in much gratitude, much appreciation.
All right, LaVonne Wells Sandberg is a spiritual teacher. You can find out more about her online at LaVonne Wells. We'll be back right after this.